Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I thought the perfect way to kick off the new year was to recap my 2024 plus talk about some of my goals for 2025. So let's get right into the first topic, which happened to be my main focus for this year. Running. I definitely did not have any plan to make running my main focus, but it was. Now, if you remember, my original goal for the year was to complete 512 miles or 824 kilometers because I had my golden birthday this past year. At some point in the year, my mom suggested, like, why aren't you doing it from your 24th birthday to your 25th birthday instead of the beginning of the year, because 8 of the months you were not 24 this year. And I was like, actually that is a really good idea. Also because I kind of was like looking, I'm like, I don't really feel like I'm going to be on target for the mileage, so I decided to make the switch. So I'll be trying to shoot for that goal from my 24th birthday to my 25th birthday. As far as this year, I ended up doing a little over 358 miles. I'll put the mileage for each month up on the screen so you guys can see. I definitely did feel a little bit disappointed, obviously, because I did not hit the original goal that I had intended, but I feel much better when I compare it to what I did in 2023, which was 85 miles, I believe. So obviously I ended up doing 4 times what I did last year, and last year I primarily walked. Like, there was very little running, where almost all the mileage that was this year was me actually running. And I can tend to feel the same exact way when I look at my pace for this year. I'm like, oh, did I really improve? But when I look at the first ever mile I logged, I think it was 28 minutes and 18 seconds for 2023, and the fastest one I ended up doing in 2023 was 16 minutes and 28 seconds. So comparing that to the fastest mile I did this year, which was 13 minutes and 28 seconds, I realized, oh no, I took like a whole 14 minutes and 50 seconds off the first ever mile I ever logged, and 3 minutes off the fastest mile I did last year. I feel like, though, for me, the 5K was what made me feel much worse this year, because I really wanted to be under 45 minutes, but comparing it to last year and seeing that my first ever 5K was 53 minutes and 47 seconds, and this year it was 45 minutes and 57 seconds, I realized I shaved like 7 minutes and 50 seconds off of my 5K time. The only thing I don't really have something to compare with is my 10K, because I did my first one this year. I did it in 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 33 seconds. Obviously not the best, but I did not run pretty much any of it, as well as it was absolutely freezing if you watched the video, and I ended up getting 2 blisters, so it was kind of like a little bit of a mess. I also did not go out with like any goal time for that. I was just kind of like, go out and just do it. I also think from the 2 races that I end up doing this year, one in the summer and one in the winter, I did learn a lot. I mentioned in another video that I really need a structured plan. I need to focus on my breathing more, and I need to make sure that I'm training in all types of weather, because those things will be the most beneficial for me in wanting to improve in my running. Overall though, for my first year of running, I am really happy with what I was able to do. My second focus for this year was running. Sadly, compared to last year, it was not as good. Last year I logged a little over 130 weightlifting sessions. Compared to this year, I think I did like 57 of them. Obviously not great, but I do know that my focus shifted 100% from last year. Last year I was really all about the weights and just kind of focused on the running, where I think this year I kind of dropped the weights because I was so focused on the running, and the running also had a easier goal that I could see, like by a certain date I had to be here, where like the weights was just, there's no real goal for like the weights besides just trying to build muscle. So I think time management became a big issue for me, because we were getting up in the beginning of the year at like 4 a.m. I was trying to fit in both running and lifting, and then even towards like the middle of the year we switched to going in the afternoons to the gym, but we still had like a time crunch, so I had to kind of always end up choosing, do I want to run or do I want to lift? And since running had such a time-based goal, I would drop the lifting for the running, obviously. I will say though, the last 2 weeks I've been getting back into lifting and I really missed it, so I'm very excited to start doing it again in 2025. I feel like I have found a really good way to be able to run and lift in 2025, so I'm excited for that. Obviously though, with the weights, there's not that much progress with the amount that I can lift because I wasn't very consistent with it. I do feel like 2023 was obviously like my big year for like lifting and doing weights and stuff like that, and 2024 was all about running. So in my mind, 2025 should be like a really nice harmony of doing both running and lifting. Now, did I lose any weight? That is probably the biggest question. I will start with, I did not hit my goal weight this year. At the start of this journey, when I started on January 1st, 2023, I wanted to get the weight off as quick as possible, but I do think I have been benefiting from maybe going slower than normal. I think mainly in the like body dysmorphia category. Now, that is not to say that I'm not struggling with it, because I definitely am, and I think I probably always will. It's just a little bit easier to like look at my body and be like, oh, okay. But I'm still very inclined to go to the store and pick up a 3X, a 4X instead of picking up the extra large. Another reason I am trying to go slow is because I am trying to prevent as much loose skin as possible. Obviously, I won't really know if I prevented it or even like lessened my chance of how much loose skin I have until I'm at my goal weight. So we're kind of just gonna have to like wait and see on that. But for my heaviest weight ever, I have lost 105 pounds in total now. And in this year, I lost 33 pounds. Compared to last year, I think I struggled a lot more this year losing the weight because I would hit a lot more of a plateau. Obviously, I know typically when you weigh more weight in the beginning, you can drop it much quicker and then you'll obviously start hitting these plateaus, and that's what I did this year. For me, breaking that like 200 mark was a real big struggle for me. Not only was it like a actual like struggle of like physically getting the pounds off, but also like mentally of like, okay, well, what am I doing? Why can't I break this plateau? I will say I do feel very confident that we will actually hit my goal weight this year, but when throughout the year, I have an idea, but I'm not 100% sure, so you're gonna have to stick with me to see when we hit it. So where do I feel like I can improve in 2025 compared to 2024? This might sound a little confusing, but I feel like for me in 2024, trying to learn from 2023, it was a little bit harder than now being in 2025, trying to learn from 2024, just because for me, 2023 was me just trying to get to the gym, trying to make the gym part of my lifestyle, where 2024 was kind of similar to that because I had really struggled towards the end of 2023 with consistency. So 2024 was like, okay, we have to kind of start all over again, like with the mentally like going back to the gym, and then also now trying to add running into it all. So I feel like where I can improve in 2025 is what I struggled the most with, which is consistency and balance. Obviously, like I said, for 2024, finding that balance between running and lifting was really hard for me to do because I want to do both of them, but I know I don't have enough time for them on the same exact day. So for 2025, I've tried to create a little bit of a schedule that will give me a nice balance of lifting and running. And I feel like because I'll have this balance, I won't have as much pressure like I did in 2024 where I was trying to do both on the same day, because I feel like then I am more inclined to not be as consistent because now I'm going to the gym thinking, oh my God, I have to run, I have to lift, I have to do all these things, instead of being like, oh, I'm just gonna go do a quick little lifting session. Oh, I'm just gonna go do like a quick little run. Also, I think setting a certain amount of mileage for my first ever year of running was not beneficial for me. Now, yes, technically, am I still doing it from my 24th to my 25th birthday? Yes, but I also feel a little bit more comfortable and confident in my running abilities compared to where I was at the beginning of 2023. Also, knowing where I am in the mileage, I also feel a little bit more confident that I will hit it. Now, for 2025, I do have an idea of how much mileage I would like to do, and I am specifying like to do instead of being like, I need to do this much, because one, no, I need to have a clear plan of what I'm doing, but I also don't want to be so overly strict that I start beating myself up over it, which is kind of hard to do because I am a Virgo, which means I'm a perfectionist. Kind of with that same thing, listening to my body is something that I need to get better at because that was something I really struggled with this past year. So I think being able to have a more flexible plan is what's going to benefit me and make me be a little bit easier on myself mentally here. With that being said though, it is kind of a fine line for me of like listening to my body and understanding the difference between I need to rest day because I physically can't, or if I do this, I physically won't be able to the next day, and just because I'm like not in the mood and I'm feeling a little lazy, which is also fine to take rest days for that, but sometimes I think I give into it a little too much, so I think I need to figure out where that line is for me. The more I work out and the more I'm doing, I kind of realize that any goal I have, I don't really have a reason to not at least even try and achieve it, because I am pretty lucky to not have any like physical reason to not try. So now what do I want to achieve in 2025? Obviously the main goal is to hit my goal weight, but besides that, I will say a lot of my goals are focused around running, primarily getting faster with my mile time, my 5K time, my 10K time. I do have like rough ideas of what I want my times to be, but I'm gonna try not to be too strict with the exact times. I think I'm probably gonna do more of a this time to this time because, as I said, as a perfectionist, I know that giving myself such a strict time will not like motivate me for the future, because if I don't hit that goal, instead of focusing on like, okay, what can I do better, I get more strung up on like what didn't I do? And it doesn't work the way you would think it would work. I just recently heard the idea of doing a gold, silver, and bronze time, and I really like that because basically what you'll do is set the hardest time as the gold and the bronze as something that's kind of achievable based on like where you are at the beginning of your training, and then the silver would fall somewhere between those two. I think mentally for me, it will be easier for me not to get so stuck on not hitting that one goal, and I can look and be like, okay, maybe I didn't get the gold, but hey, I got the silver, and that also means I got the bronze. Or maybe I didn't get the silver and I'd be like, I got the bronze, like I still achieved a goal. As far as my goal time with each distance, that's kind of going to vary based on the point I'm at when it comes time to train for each distance. So we'll probably talk more about that once it is closer to the time to be training for the races. Speaking on distances, logically to me, if 2023 was my first 5K, I took it that I should up it in 2024 and make it my first 10K. So I feel like 2025 has to be my first half marathon. I do have a few ideas for what race I might want it to be, but that will not be until the fall. So we do have some time to figure out all the details. Overall though, my main goal is simply get a little bit faster and also increase my distance I can run, which obviously those two things will be pretty important if I want to do a half marathon. As far as weightlifting, I don't really have a goal of like lift this much weight by the end of the year, simply because I know as someone who has a period that 1 week I could go to the gym and I could hit this like really crazy PR. And then I know the following week, the set that I was doing as a warm up for last week is now like my heavy set for this week. So it's kind of hard for me to like predict where I'll be with that. Something kind of in that realm that I would like to achieve is being able to do at least one pull-up and like a push-up with like really good solid form. For me, those are all things that they used to test all the time in school. So I would like to be able just to show myself like, yes, maybe it's years later, but you can do it now. So I think because of that, I would definitely be interested in exploring the world of like calisthenics this year, maybe. I don't know. It's always been very interesting to me and very impressive. So I would not be entirely upset if that was something I started to like really explore this year. Also, something I think I really want to explore this year is boxing and some form of martial arts. As you know, I was obsessed with the speed bag we used to have downstairs in our gym until somebody else broke it on me. Now, I will say both of them would mostly just be for like fun and having a little bit of variety in my workout. I do remember as a kid going to karate and actually kind of really enjoying it until I started getting really bad social anxiety and like gaining weight. So I ended up stopping, but it is something that I definitely would really like to try doing again. While we're talking about things I really liked to do as a kid, one of them was roller skating. Like I had my own roller skates and everything. I love doing it so much. I constantly think about going back and doing it. So that is something I will definitely be doing this year because it was just one of my favorite things to do. Also, when I was younger, something I really wanted to do was learn how to ride a skateboard, and I actually do have one from when I was 12 because I was watching Zeke and Luther and I was like, I want to do that, and my mom took me and I did a few lessons, but I never really stuck with it because also around that time was when I really started to gain weight, so I was just like uncomfortable and I was like, I don't really want to do this anymore. But I would love to give it a try at some point this year just to see if it's something I'm still like really interested in doing it, since I still do have my skateboard. On the other hand, something I never learned how to do as a kid was ride a bike. I mean, kind of when I was 6, my dad had the bright idea that I should learn going down a hill and then the handlebars disconnected. So I don't have the best memory with riding bikes. Even though I do have a little PTSD connected to it, I still would really like to learn how to ride a bike, you know, to be able to just to like commute around my town and also like head down to the shore and be able to ride a bike on the boardwalk and things like that. I think that would be really nice. Obviously, majority of these goals are health and fitness related. I do have some other ones like, you know, the classic, like I want to read more, and I also want to really focus on learning sign language this year. I always say that, but I always end up getting distracted, but that is something I really want to focus on this year. My main focus obviously is my health. I also feel like when I look at a lot of my goals, I see them as things I never really did when I was younger because I used to let my weight hold me back so much. So I feel like 2025 I get to like tap into like my inner child, I guess. So those are majority of my goals for 2025. I probably will come up with some other ones throughout the year because I kind of did the same in 2024, but I'm really excited for this year just to be bettering myself physically and mentally. I would love to know what some of your goals are for 2025, so feel free to leave them in the comments down below. But that is all for this week. I will see you guys next week for our first week of training in the new year. Till then though, I hope you guys enjoyed, and roll the outro.